Hey, speak for yourself, listeners. Before we start the show, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. So download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com. Now, let's start the show. Welcome to Speak for Yourself. The superstars in the building, but let's start first with Marcelo Swally the Scrub and Emmanuel Acho off his world tour.
You got too comfortable throwing these haymakers when I wasn't close enough to fight back. It's time to fight back today, sir.
I thought you liked uncomfortable stuff. Are you too comfortable? We're going to figure this one out today. Let's get it started with the Eagles, who figured something out at the quarterback position. Rookie Jalen Hurts got his first NFL start yesterday, and he did not disappoint. He threw a touchdown pass and ran for over 100 yards against the Saints. On the other side, Taysom Hill was sacked 5 times and had 2 turnovers that played a role in the Eagles' upset that snapped the Saints' 9-game winning streak. So, Superstar, were you more impressed with Hurts or disappointed with the Saints?
Marcellus Wiley, this is a convoluted and complicated question, sir.
Oh, here you go. You're trying to muck it up.
No, sir, because 2 things can be true. First and foremost, I am impressed with Jalen Hurts. Saints hadn't allowed a 100-yard rusher in 55 games, and Jalen Hurts was one. Incredibly impressive, incredibly impressive. But, sir, let's be real. And I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm never upset when my Eagles win. You know this. Everybody knows this. Y'all know this. But the Saints. Sir, can we talk about the first 6 possessions?
Oh, here he go.
3 and out, missed field goal. 5 and out, interception. 6 and out, 3 and out, halftime. Shall we again? 3 and out, missed field goal. 5 and out, interception. 6 and out, 3 and out, halftime. So I am disappointed with the Saints, my Super Bowl pick representative out of the NFC at the beginning of the season. I am disappointed with the Saints because this is not the Saints that we are accustomed to seeing. Again, I'm talking out both sides of my mouth. I'm an Eagles fan.
We know.
So it's hard for me to talk about, I'm not impressed with I am impressed with the Eagles, but the question wasn't, are you more impressed with the Eagles or the Saints? You asked me, am I more impressed with Jalen Hurts or disappointed in the Saints? Had you said, am I more impressed with the Eagles? Different answer. But I'm more disappointed in the Saints than I am Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts looked like a pro's pro. But you shouldn't be surprised. Son of a football coach. He grew up playing ball in Texas. Played at the University of Alabama, lost his job at the University of Alabama, then had to replace the man who took his job to save his team, and then transfers to Oklahoma, and then becomes a Heisman finalist. We know Jalen Hurts is a pro's pro. His 273 yards, impressive. His 1 touchdown, impressive. But you can't watch that game knowing the Saints are the hottest team in football, 10-2 at the time. Taysom Hill had looked competent at the quarterback position, and not be disappointed in the Saints. Impressed with Jalen Hurts, yes, but I am more disappointed in the Saints.
Oh, Acho took me everywhere.
I did.
And we're back here, and it feels good to be back here, man. I really did miss you.
It feels good to be back. I had to.
And I could tell I missed you because while you were gone, so much in this world changed. Your guy, Carson Wentz, no longer to be seen, and hopefully no longer to ever be seen. Let's add one more word to that sentence. A lot has changed in this world since you left, Acho, and it's good to see you come back to see how it all has changed. I'm impressed with Jalen Hurts. Let's just be real about this. This is not a Saints team that you can look at yesterday in a vacuum and say, I'm disappointed in you. Why? They came in white hot. 9 games in a row, we're talking about them winning. #1 defense, so that's what Jalen Hurts saw. A #1 defense and a team that had won 9 games in a row. And a team, as you said, that hadn't allowed a 100-yard rusher in 55 games. So when you're going to break that streak, let's not break it once with just Jalen Hurts. Let's break it twice. Right? Let's go get some of this, too. The point is, you face the most Goliath of foes when talking about your first game ever as a starter in Jalen Hurts. And what did he do? Beyond all the tangibles, and we can look at his numbers, and I have nuggets after nuggets that show that the stats support that he had an impressive game. But more importantly, he showed the poise. He showed the wherewithal that all of us veteran players try to get to as fast as we can, which is slow the game down, take what they give you, and play close to the vest and within your skin, especially in your earlier, younger years. What I was so impressed by is that he took what they gave him. I know it was a lot of run plays called. I know there were a lot of scrambles. But the point is, he went out there, saw the weaknesses, and exploited them to the tune of this was an offense stuck in gear. 16 points, 17 points, 17 points, 17 points, last 4 weeks. What happened this week against the number 1 defense, number 1 seed in your conference? Oh, let's give them 24. So this is a team that has not even seen 30 points this year, Acho. What is the limit now that Jalen Hurts is under center?
You make great points, but the issue at hand is you said, am I impressed with Jalen Hurts? You have to say, am I impressed with the Eagles? See, when you look at Jalen Hurts, he gave you 273 yards yesterday total. He gave you a touchdown. On average, Carson Wentz was giving you 253 yards a game. So if you just look incubated at Jalen Hurts, I'm not going to sit there and say like, oh my God, I was wowed. I was wowed for a rookie. I was wowed for a first start. I was wowed for going against the Saints defense. But isolated, just looking at Jalen Hurts in and of itself, he was not as impressive as the Saints were terrible. Because think about how much help Jalen Hurts got. Marcellus, I'm no mathematician. You're a better mathematician than I. But I do understand it's easier to get 10 yards in 4 tries than it is to get 10 yards in 3 tries.
Yeah, I'm with
Doug Peterson every time going for it on 4th down. Doug Peterson knew that. The Eagles' first 6 plays yesterday, run play, run play, run play, pass to Miles Sanders, run play. 6 consecutive runs or attempts to get it to the most explosive player on your offense. That hadn't happened beforehand, but this is what was so baffling. I had to go grab the plays for you and grab the plays for y'all.
Screen time.
3 weeks ago, Carson Wentz throwing the ball to Alshon Jeffrey with the game on the line against the Cleveland Browns. Alshon, make a play. Please make a play. I need you to just run an out route. You're 6'5", 250. This DB is
250?
230. This DB is 6'1", 190.
Okay.
Alshon, it's just an out route. Why are you getting muzzled by a smaller DB? Alshon, what is going on here? But wait a second. Yesterday, Marcellus Wiley, back shoulder, a harder play than an out route to the same Alshon Jeffrey. Same receiver, same guy, probably going up against a better defensive back, Marshawn Lattimore, and Alshon. Now you found a way to get open for a tug? Jalen Hurts' is only passing tug on the day. I was so confused at the fact of, wait a second. All the players, not all of them, but the majority of the big-time players were also showing up. Doug Peterson called his best game. The star players played their best game. The Eagles' defense, you could argue, played their best game. Impressed with Jalen Hurts? Absolutely. Not taking anything away from Jalen Hurts. But let's not act like the rest of the Eagles didn't really support that man yesterday.
Yeah, but you're not looking at this for what it is, which is it's not coincidence. There's correlation. There's causation. You keep going with the coincidence. Everybody started balling yesterday. Doug Peterson started to coach again. I wonder why. There was one change in terms of what this team looked like before and what they look like after. Acho, when you was gone,
yes, sir.
You know me, I don't care about the ratings. I'm going to give you 100%. I don't give a damn what scoreboard say. As long as you come to me and say, Marcellus, you did your job. Acho, you did your job. The show did its job. But the ratings were high when you were going, Acho. I don't know why. It happened. It happened. I mean, producers bugging me 3 in the morning. I'm thinking I'm getting some of them calls that I used to get when I was super single like you. It's producers. Man, we killing it without Acho here. I don't know what's going to happen. Point being, Acho, sometimes one little simple change can ignite everything.
Hey, is this true?
No, hell no, it ain't true.
You go, hey, talk to me, Coleman.
Stay in the building, big dog. But in our sport that we love so much, the game of football, there is no entitlement. You know that. Everything is earned. Nothing is given.
That's facts.
So if nothing is given, how in the hell did Jalen Hurts go out there against the number 1 seed and the number 1 defense at halftime and have his teammates saying, yo, we up 17 donut.
Should have been 20. Missed field goal, should have been 20.
They're up 17 donut. Team, you know this situation. We've been there before. It is contagious when you whisper to your boy, hey, man, I don't know what it is, but let's keep doing whatever this is. I don't care. I don't even want to get scientifical with it. I don't even want to get deep with it. I just want to continue with this good feeling. This good feeling all came from Jalen Hurts, his composure, his poise, the fact that you have teammates now imagining not only the reality of we're up 17-0, oh, we won this game 24-21, but the imagination and the regret of why didn't we do this earlier? We were sitting there knowing that this team was stuck in gear. All those games, 16, 17, 17 points. How about it's been 7 games since they even eclipsed 24 points? Now there's a team full of enthusiasm, but also some regret. They didn't do this before.
But here is the question I have for you, along with all those listening.
Let's go.
I'm not diminishing what Jalen Hurts did. I am just taking the magnifying glass and highlighting the Saints. What do I mean by that? Jalen Hurts don't play no defense. Carson Wentz don't play no defense. So when you look at the fact that the Saints had 3 3-and-outs, they had 2 turnovers, and just all. And the Eagles had 5 sacks.
Yep.
Eagles had 5 sacks, 3 3-and-outs, and forced 2 turnovers. That ain't got nothing to do with Wentz nor Hurts. Yet that really in and of itself won the game. So if you go into halftime with the goose egg on the board, the Eagles put a goose egg on the board for the Saints, you know you about to win that game. So
the Eagles?
What?
If you're on a team like that,
you
ain't thinking you got it yet.
But the fact of the matter is very simple. The Eagles' defense, you could really argue, won that football game. Jalen Hurts did not lose it, whereas Carson Wentz has been losing games probably 3 to 4 games this season. I'm just simply submitting to you that more than Jalen Hurts won the game, he didn't lose the game. And Carson Wentz has gone out there and lost games this season. So to me, what is more impressive, Eagles defense, Saints were just god-awful. And that, to me, is really more mind-boggling than Jalen Hurts' 270 yards.
But be real. In the last 8 games, they have not given up over 30 points. And then if you look at 7 of those games, we're talking about 22, 23, 21. Yes, these are games that they could have won if they would have just had the same type of production. You got to remember this. They're fighting against the atmospheric pressure and resistance of the #1 defense, and they scored 24. And the defense is sitting there like, yo, there's been a lot of games of late where we haven't given up 30. How come we are not in that same position? But when you go against #1 defense, you score 24. As a player, my imagination goes against everyone else we played against. Let's talk about the fact that y'all just played the Seattle Seahawks, only gave up 23. But what is that defense rank? 27th. How come we couldn't score more than 17? You know why? Because we ain't had a right quarterback. Now we do.
But let me caution you, along with everyone else, along with myself, because I'm out here like secretly like, attaboy, Jalen Hurts. We needed that. I'm secretly watching the game on the couch, torn because obviously I'm close with Carson, spent some time with him this offseason, but at the same time, I'm close with the Eagles. So I'm sitting here like, come on, Jalen, I need a W. But let's be real, Marcellus. We've seen this firsthand just 4 weeks ago. Taysom Hill, his first start, looked real good, didn't he?
Yeah.
First start, 230 passing yards, 50 rushing yards.
How many passing touchdowns?
No passing touchdowns.
Oh, okay, it didn't look like this.
No, 2 total touchdowns,
I get that. Okay.
290 more yards, had more total touchdowns and more points than more total touchdowns and more total yards than Jalen Hurts. In his first start, Taysom Hill looked good.
He did.
What happened yesterday?
Oh, don't do that.
What happened yesterday? He didn't look that good, Marcellus. Why didn't he look that good? Because you know better than anybody, because you played in the NFL at a higher level than I. You can come in with minimal tape, and you can go out there and ball.
Surprise.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what Jalen Hurts did, but Sal, when you go in there as a pass rusher and the offensive tackle has no film on you, he don't know if you're going speed to power. He don't know if you're going to go straight speed. He don't know if you got a crazy Dwight Freeney spin move. He doesn't know if you're going to long arm, if you're going to 2-hand swipe, you're going to hit 1-hand chop. He don't know nothing. He playing out there bucket naked, just holding on for dear life. Saints defense was doing the same thing. You could not have anticipated Jalen Hurts was going to run the ball 18 times.
Oh,
you can't anticipate that.
I can.
So if I'm cautioning myself like I'm cautioning you, I'm not just going to sit there and expect this to be the same outcome. And why am I not? Because I've been watching Taysom Hill closely. 290 yards, 2 total touchdowns in his first start. Yesterday, he looked atrocious. Jalen Hurts is a much better quarterback than Taysom Hill. He was in college. He appears to already be in his first start as a pro. I'm just going to caution myself a little bit before I start talking crazy like it sounds like you're about to.
Wow. So Taysom Hill starts fast, and now he doesn't look the same. Oh, that should be a telling sign of all other quarterback play, especially Jalen Hurts. When I played against Peyton Manning, who looked horrible at first, well, we're supposed to say, oh my God, he's going to be a bum. Then he flips it around. The point is, you write your story. No one else writes your story. I love the fact that we all have comps, we have nuggets, we have all of these stats that support our argument, but it can't be the argument. The argument is Jalen Hurts fit for this team to give them not only a spark, but set them ablaze? Yes, and yes. I tell you why. They went out there with 18 rush attempts, and you're like, where'd that come from? I told you this last week. Maybe because you were on your world tour and you was doing everything from bathrooms across the world and you were zooming in. You didn't listen to me. I told you quarterbacks that run the football with a commitment win way more than I think the audience understands. 60-7 when you're talking about quarterbacks that rush the ball 10+ times. How many times has Carson Wentz ever rushed the ball 10+ times? 0 in his career. Jalen Hurts did it in his first game. Why is that important? When you see 18 rush attempts, that is a coach. That is a system that is pliable based on what they see on the field. Jalen Hurts, more composed and more pliable than Carson Wentz.
Sir, you're one of the most educated people on television. Let's talk smart. The law of diminishing returns.
Oh, don't go there.
The law of diminishing returns is very simple. No. The more you continue to do something, at first there's a large return on that.
Yeah.
At first.
Yes.
But then you continue to do it, and that return is smaller and smaller. Smaller. It's the law of diminishing returns. Your returns diminish. I'm just cautioning you, so because it would be very ignorant, I believe, of us to say, okay, the secret to the Eagles winning, Jalen Hurts, just run the ball 10 times a game. That's all you got to do. You're 60-7 if you run the ball 10 times a game. I'm just going to caution myself, probably so I can be happier later on. I'm not going to get my hopes up as my inner Eagles fan. There's a law of diminishing returns. Jalen Hurts did not lose that game yesterday. The Eagles won the game yesterday. Carson Wentz has lost several games, just like several other quarterbacks have lost games. Kudos to the Eagles team. Kudos to Doug Peterson. Kudos to Jalen Hurts in his first start. But them Saints, 9 wins in a row, Saints. Favorite to represent the NFC in the playoffs, Saints. Had held every opponent to 16 points or less in the last 5 weeks, Saints. They were not at all impressive.
And they weren't impressive because somebody made them unimpressive. And that's the beautiful thing about football. Every time I went home, I loved my family and their support, their emotional support. They begging asses. All they wanted really was that money to keep coming. So, it's okay, Marcel's. How's it okay? I had like half a pressure. No tackles, no sacks. Oh, it's okay. They was over there triple teaming you. Not every play, yo. You know what I'm saying? Your family does that too. You sound like my begging-ass family over there trying to give emotional support. Yeah, what happened to the Saints? You know what happened to the Saints? Jalen Hurts and the Eagles happened to the Saints.
And the Eagles.
Just make sure you say. As long as I say Jalen Hurts' name first, because he was the conductor of what we saw yesterday. It's amazing. It's going to keep going. Coming up at the top of the hour, the Browns and Ravens have a huge matchup tonight. We'll tell you if we have more confidence in Lamar Jackson or Baker Mayfield. But first, Aaron Rodgers just keeps racking up touchdown passes. I see you, baby. We'll tell you if he's in the driver's seat to win MVP. Next, speak for yourself. I chose back, baby. It's on and cracking and popping. It's on.
What's up, Speak for Yourself listeners? It's your boy Shay Sharp, co-host of FS1's Undisputed. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before 2 something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now, back to Speak for Yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Aaron Rodgers looked like, Aaron Rodgers again yesterday. He finished with 3 touchdown passes against the Lions to add to his lead with 39. The Packers have now won 3 straight, while in KC, the man who Rodgers trails in MVP odds, according to Fox Bet, Patrick Mahomes, threw 3 interceptions, and the Chiefs win. So, Marcellus, has Aaron Rodgers done it? Is he now in the driver's seat to win a 3rd MVP?
Yes, he's in the driver's seat. Oh, man, Patrick Mahomes gave it to him. It's not even like Aaron Rodgers had to earn it this week as much as it was given to him by Patrick Mahomes. We saw the 3 interceptions by Patrick Mahomes. And I guess the way I can really imagine this is, you ever go to a car show, growing up? You from Texas, you've been to some Dub car shows. Shout out to Dub, what it do? And you're on the way to the car show. Now, you're supposed to have your car towed there, and indoor towing. You ain't supposed to have it just on the back of some U-Haul hitch wagon or something. You're not supposed to drive it as well. But it seems like yesterday, Patrick Mahomes decided, I'm Patrick Mahomes. I just ride up there to the car show and win the car show. Problem is, on the way to the car show, got scraped up a little bit, got dinged up a little bit. People looking at the car like, oh, that's fresh. That's Patrick Mahomes. Duh. Wait a minute. What's that? What's that? What's that? We saw scrapes on the car that we've never seen before or anticipated. He had 2 picks before yesterday. He had 3 yesterday in total. Guess what that did to Russell Wilson when he went through his slump of turnovers? Took him out the conversation. Why would Patrick Mahomes be exempt from the same conversation? You look at Aaron Rodgers, it's simple. Aaron Rodgers is looking at a year where he's probably going to lead the league in passer rating. You look at him right now having the edge in touchdowns. He has the stats to go up there and say, I am the winner. So it's about numbers and narrative. Ooh, who's going to win that conversation? Because Aaron Rodgers is going to win the numbers category. Who's going to win the narrative, the story, English class? Still Aaron Rodgers. Why? Because I'm the old man that was left, cast away. They drafted at my position. Not only did they draft at my position first round, they moved up and used resources we could have used to reload. Instead, they're wasted. All of that, and I still am going out there and having an MVP campaign. By numbers, by narratives, and by just simple eye test at the car show, it's Aaron Rodgers.
Here's how I'm going to do this argument. I'm going to say that Aaron Rodgers is not in the driver's seat, and I'll do you like this. The NFL MVP is the award that I can most closely correlate to the Heisman Trophy, right? The Heisman, the pinnacle of college, NFL MVP, pinnacle of the NFL. It's the closest correlation.
I'm like,
if you are Patrick Mahomes, on pace to go 15-1. The only quarterback that can look at his schedule and say, we beat every team on this schedule. There is nobody that beat us. Again, what do I mean? The Raiders beat the Chiefs, but the Chiefs went back and beat the Raiders. You're the only quarterback that can say that. You'll be the only quarterback on pace to have 5,000 yards. 5,000 yards plus 40 touchdowns, plus you beat everybody. There is not a team in the NFL that you did not beat this season. There is no way you can sit here and tell me Aaron Rodgers has a better story, nor is Aaron Rodgers in the driver's seat. The other reason I will say is this, Marcellus. When we think about Patrick Mahomes' worst games this season, we can go back to the Raiders game that they lost if you want to say that. He still threw for, I believe, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. You can say his 3-interception game against the Dolphins, again, if you want to say that. Some crazy fluke interceptions and some miraculous plays by the defensive backs. Shout out Xavier Howard.
Yes.
But you can still say Patrick Mahomes won and Patrick Mahomes threw for 300-plus yards. If we were to go to Aaron Rodgers' worst game of the season, because that's what you do. Let's compare your best to your best. Let's compare your worst to your worst. Aaron Rodgers against Tampa, 2 interceptions. Did he lose 38 to, was it 10? Were they a pick 6 and then a pick all the way down to the 2-yard line? Did you get pulled in that game because it was such a blowout? Oh,
no, that's protection.
I'm just saying.
That's protection.
I'm just saying.
Blowout.
It was a blowout. He got pulled.
Ooh,
If you really want to say that Aaron Rodgers is in the driver's seat, maybe he is, but Patrick Mahomes is still DJing. Speaking of, let me bring in another guy to add to this conversation. That's NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. Bucky, what's up? So, is Aaron Rodgers now in the driver's seat to win a 3rd MVP?
Yeah, so I hate to tell you, so earlier today I got a chance to look at the trophy, and when I was looking at the trophy, they've already engraved Aaron Rodgers' name on it. Aaron Rodgers is the front runner. It's over with. Because as Marcellus talked about, like, there are a couple different ways that you can approach it. You can approach it as, hey, how did the player come into the year? How was he viewed? And I think when you look at it, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, they were drafting someone to replace him. He got up off the mat. His team is the #1 seed in the NFC. And then when you look at the numbers, 39 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, passer rating of 119.7. And then when you think about who is he playing with? I mean, my guy, Pat Mahomes, is playing with an all-star team. I mean, I think I could throw a couple touchdowns with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Sammy Watkins and all those guys. I mean, can we name who Aaron Rodgers is playing with outside of Devontae Adams? No. Alan Lazard, MVS, Robert Tonyan, none of those guys. Those guys that we can get off the corner and play at the park, that's who Aaron Rodgers is doing. So he deserves the MVP, and it's hard for me because I've been very critical of Aaron Rodgers, but I just wanted the best for him. He has responded, and so he should get his 3rd MVP.
Gentlemen, I like the take, Bucky Brooks, when you want to say, well, Aaron Rodgers is playing with less talented people. I like that take, but then you got to push back, and you got to say, wait a second, has a tight end ever led the National Football League in receiving yards since the merger in 1970? I think not.
No, Travis Kelce.
Is Travis Kelce on pace as a tight end to lead the NFL in receiving yards the first time ever in the history of the NFL? Yes, he is. Is that exclusively because of Travis Kelce's dominance? As much as I love Travis Kelce, I would argue it is not. I would argue that Travis Kelce is a phenomenal player, future Hall of Famer, but Patrick Mahomes is also elevating Travis Kelce to heights we've never seen a tight end reach in the NFL. Not Tony Gonzalez, not Rob Gronkowski, not Jason Witten, not Shannon Sharp, nobody except Travis Kelce. So again, I understand that take. I understand your position. I like that position. But if Patrick Mahomes is allowing his players to exceed heights we've never even seen in NFL history, then that has to count as well. The other thing I must caution both of you gentlemen is this. Who do the Chiefs play this week? The Saints. In a prime-time-esque game. It's going to be national spotlight. Everybody about to be watching. Don't sit up here and tell me that if Patrick Mahomes goes out here with the whole world watching, likely a Super Bowl preview, and has 4, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. A very likely stat line for Patrick Mahomes, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions on a national type of stage. Don't sit here and tell me he can't easily open up the door, tell Rodgers, hey, get out. Your boy back in the driver's seat. Don't count Patrick Mahomes out so fast, gentlemen.
Man, Acho up here cooking today, and I can start smelling it too. Smell like some old-ass meat on the grill because Acho is making this stuff crazy.
What happened?
He just dug himself a hole. He just went down the trail, the path of, hey, you ever seen a tight end play like this? Well, guess what? That's MVP worthy. Nobody wanted, what's next, a fullback? What are you going to talk about now? A special teams performance? It's not about that. Let's keep it about who they are, what they're doing, and I could stay there. Let's talk about a quarterback who's leading the league in passer rating and leading the league in passing touchdowns. When's the last time that happened? Acho trivia. Time's up. 10 years ago, who won the MVP 10 years ago? Tom Brady, the last quarterback to do that same feat. And now Aaron Rodgers is going to do it again. But you're going to tell me because a tight end is playing at a historical level, that's going to be the room that you need to win the trophy over Aaron Rodgers? You can't use that as your point. That is a crutch right there. I'm looking at a guy in Aaron Rodgers who's looking at Patrick Mahomes throw 3 interceptions in one game. And Aaron Rodgers is like, damn, dog, you all right? Because I only thrown 4 the entire year. You threw 3 in one game, and I only got 4 for the entire year. There's no way to make sense of this in story, in narrative, sympathetic figure, or in the numbers. It's Aaron Rodgers' trophy to lose. Just like a week ago, it was Patrick Mahomes' trophy to lose.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes lost the trophy. He lost it with 3 interceptions. He lost it when I saw him take that 30-yard sack.
Whoa.
I mean, I don't think an MVP does that. He just spinning around and just gives up 30 yards of real estate. No, that's not something that is MVP caliber. And as you talk about Travis Kelce playing at a level to lead the league, I mean, I think that in itself makes more the argument for Aaron Rodgers. Patrick Mahomes is playing with an all-star cast. This is the same cast that also elevated Alex Smith to Pro Bowl level contention. So, I mean, I just don't know how we can sit here and say that Aaron Rodgers won't get it. But I'm glad that you brought up the point about the primetime game and how so many people will define Patrick Mahomes as an MVP as he knocks off the New Orleans Saints, because I saw somebody yesterday knock off the Saints. And are we going to call him the new MVP? I just wonder. I mean, you know, we're playing tic-tac-toe, and you kind of box yourself in. So I know we'll talk about that later.
Cat game. He going to say cat game.
Just remember, you got yourself.
You got yourself. Look, we already brought up the 3 interceptions. We hammered that point down. Come on, man. That ain't MVP worthy. We talked about the 30-yard sack. I got a few sacks in my day. Not a ton, a few. 30 yards? What the hell, boy? They would have gave me a new contract on the sidelines. You get 30-yard sacks. But this is when I know Acho is got. This is when I know Acho's in the corner. The flat top is starting to box in. He's stuck. You know what? I remember him talking about the safest pass in football is the screen pass, right? And I watched Patrick Mahomes not once, it seemed like twice, the safest passes were those screen passes. How did that turn out, Acho? I saw 2 interceptions, wasn't, dare I say, on a screen pass by the MVP? It's not making much sense, Acho. Coming up, Tom Brady's Bucs won yesterday, but it wasn't pretty. We'll tell you if Tampa still looks like Super Bowl contenders. Next, speak for yourself. Acho's back. This week, Derek Carr and the Raiders are fighting for a shot at the playoffs, but rookie sensation Justin Herbert and my Chargers are looking for the upset. Thursday Night Football, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox. Also available on NFL Network and streaming on Prime Video. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. The Bucs beat the Vikings Sunday, but not everything was clicking for Tampa. Tom Brady had 2 touchdown passes, but he threw for under 200 yards and missed open receivers. The Vikings also missed 3 field goals, but Bruce Arians still sounded confident after the game, saying, quote, "We just showed our identity. We can do any damn thing we want to do." So I chose who the Bucs look like Super Bowl contenders.
No, absolutely not, big dog. And I'm going to go beneath the surface for you, for the fans at home. I've really done my homework on this. Marcellus, when you play in college, when you play in the league, really in college, there are some dudes that are practice superstars. Oh, my God. In college, you got some cats, one-handed catches. Give me that. The best pass rush moves you've ever seen in your life. In college, in practice, they go crazy.
Yeah.
But when the game come on, when the lights come on inside the stadium of 100,000 screaming, that same practice all-star nowhere to be found.
Where you at?
My point is very simple. The Bucs aren't Super Bowl contenders because in practice, non-prime time games, in practice against teams that don't have winning records, the Bucs go crazy. Bruce Arians calls his best games. He understands he has a running back in Ronald Jones that is tops in yards per carry. He understands that his non-superstar receiver in Scotty Miller is his best big play receiver. The Buccaneers in practice, Marcellus Wiley, they look amazing. What do I mean? 6-1 record against teams under 500. Ooh, in practice, these Buccaneers look like Super Bowl champions. But when the bright lights come on in primetime games, I don't see these same Bucs. Let me break it down for you since you're looking at me with your brow.
You're going to break it down? Let it be broke. Let it be broke.
Last 3 primetime games for the Buccaneers. Ronald Jones, 3 carries, 7 carries, 9 carries. 3 carries, 7 carries, 9 carries. But yesterday against the Vikings, Ronald Jones, 17 carries, I believe. Yesterday, Ronald Jones had the Buccaneers 120-plus yards on the ground. Yesterday, ain't nobody really watching. Scotty Miller, through 8 weeks, Marcellus Wiley, second on the Bucs in receiving yards, second on the Bucs in receptions, period. But then AB shows up, the great Antonio Brown, future first ballot Hall of Fame.
Damn right.
Scotty Miller, wait a second. He only has 7 targets?
Scotty Miller.
Scotty Miller. But wait, you're playing the Vikings. Nobody's watching, Bruce Arians. You don't need to look like this coaching guru. Nobody's watching. So now you find Scotty Miller again, 48-yard touchdown pass. Now you find Ronald Jones again, 80 yards on the ground, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Now you find all these guys again. No, Marcellus, the Bucs don't look like Super Bowl contenders. What they look like to me is that practice all-star in college who you knew when nobody was watching, dude went crazy. But as soon as the whole world started watching, he wasn't the same guy.
I love that take. Love that take. But you know me. Got to take some of that take and make it my take. I think you got caught up in the wrong P word. You kept talking about practice. And I think this team is a contender because they're thinking about the playoffs. You keep talking about how they haven't shown you fully what they're capable of, and what you've seen to this point makes you think that they're not a contender. I disagree with that totally. This is how it goes when you're talking about Tom Brady, the GOAT, and any team he's on now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you give them a chance, they will show out in the dance. That's what Tom Brady's about. That's what Tom Brady's always done. Let me start here with Tom Brady before I expand into an umbrella conversation about the team at large. It's Tommy time. It's time to show you when Tom Brady matters most, because I don't know how Tom Brady practices. I hear it's stellar, like his play is during the regular season and playoffs. But I can admit that this year's been a little bit of a roller coaster ride in terms of who Tom Brady's been in the regular season. But when it's playoff time, the right P word, look at these numbers. Against other prolific all-time great quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees, playoff appearances, of course, Tom Brady's going to be up there at the top 3. So he's sharing the top lead with Drew Brees. But let's talk about wins and losses. We know that Tom Brady wins when it matters most. When the P is playoffs, not practice, as you want to talk about, Acho. When it's talking about yards per game, Tom Brady is leading Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers in terms of playoff performance yards per game? Actually, he is. Touchdowns and interceptions. When people always want to say, yeah, Tom Brady dinks and dunks, and he doesn't really move the ball down the field. So far, the numbers don't suggest that. Passer rating, all things added up. Because Tom Brady plays complimentary football, he loses in that column. But that takes me to the umbrella conversation. Acho, on the break, bye week they had, they were trying to golf together, Bruce Arians and Tom Brady. You read that, right? I was there. I went out there. You know how to get to Florida real quick. You ain't the only one who could travel around the world. I went out there and eavesdropped a little bit. You know, Byron Leftwich, my boy, my former teammate, my dog. You know, we all out there. That's our foursome. B left, me, them. Anyway, we out there getting it. I started to eavesdrop and hear the conversation of everyone is caught up on the play calling. Is Tom Brady approving the plays? Is this his playbook? You know what they talked about the whole time? Every hole. I was like, come on, man, move the cart. They kept talking about philosophy, philosophical differences, and you pointed them out, but you just didn't know where it came from. It came from them coming to agreeing minds. This is a team now that focused more on the running game. They committed to it. You talked about what Ronald Jones did out there. You also saw more pre-snap motion, more play-action passes, which led to a more fluid Tom Brady. Now, he didn't have this most prolific game because this is the building blocks of what they're agreeing to do, which is when you run the ball, think about how this is compromising the passing game, how it's going to affect the defense, and even special teams. That's the way Tom Brady learned how to play football in New England. Complementary football. Bruce Arians plays a completely different style. Now you're seeing the merging of the minds, and it's going to show its way in the playoffs.
You mentioned philosophy. Let's talk football philosophy. You can play winning football and lose games.
Yes.
You can.
Yes.
And
Facts.
you can surely play losing football and win games.
Yes.
You can do that.
Oh, look at you.
The Buccaneers yesterday,
Facts.
they played losing football and still won. Let me break this down.
Okay.
The Minnesota Vikings kicker, Dan Bailey, missed 3 field goals plus an extra point. That hasn't happened in 60 years, missing 3 field goals and an extra point without converting either a field goal and extra point. The Buccaneers caught a historical break. A historical break. It's been since 1961 that's happened. What does that mean? The Minnesota Vikings left 10 points on the field. The Minnesota Vikings lost the game by 12 points. You do the math. It's a nail-biter if not for 3 missed field goals plus mixed extra point. What else do I mean? To win football games, I need you to have time of possession. I need you to stop the run. I need you to win the turnover battle. I need you to run the football. Minnesota Vikings had the ball for 39 minutes. That's winning football. Minnesota Vikings had 162 rushing yards, more rushing yards than the Buccaneers. That's winning football. The Minnesota Vikings, 4 for 5 on 4th down. 80% on 4th down. That's winning football. So what I'm telling you is very simple. The Buccaneers actually played losing football and yet still won the game. Marcellus, I'm going to end this lap like this. Track and field. You love it? I love it. Let's talk laps.
There this weekend.
In track and field, I go to world championships. I went to Doha. I've been to London for world championships. And what's so interesting is I see some cats at practice in track who, again, in 100 meters, they will, gun goes off, they take off, they do their thing. But then, Marcellus, when the game, when not the game, the bright lights of the Olympics or world championships come around, they always false start. And I'm like, why do you false start now that the bright lights are on? Bruce Arians against the Vikings, Marcellus, with no one watching, sure, he'll give Ronald Jones 18 carries. He's not trying to shine. Sure, Scotty Miller, go in there, little guy. Go in there, slugger. Go in there, sport.
Hey, Sparky.
Go in there, champ.
Come on.
Yeah, with the bright lights, man, he's not worried about it. But then as soon as the playoff prime time show up, Bruce Arians is like, wait a second. I'm just as good as Tom Brady at my job. Hey, AB, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Gronkowski, let me get all my dogs out there. Even if all my dogs aren't as productive as Scotty Miller, hey, Tom Brady, we're going to throw the ball 50 times. But, Coach, what about Ronald Jones? Don't worry about Ronald Jones. We're throwing the ball 50 times a game. I'm the guru. Don't talk to me about this game against the Vikings and proving they're Super Bowl contenders. Don't get bamboozled, Marcellus Wiley.
Oh, here we go. I love that take. You went to Doha? You went all those places?
It was hot.
And you went, how in the hell? You go to University of Texas where the Texas Relays is like a destination we all want to go there.
There too.
But you went to Doha too.
I got to see the cream of the crop, bro. What you mean?
I love track. What's her name? What's her name? What's her name, Otto? Come on. Ain't nobody traveling that far to watch the track meet that's on TV, but I love you for that. I'm a little jealous. You talk about losing football. Is having 6 sacks Losing football? That's what they had yesterday, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Is Tom Brady not being sacked at all? Losing football. Is Tom Brady with 0 turnovers? Losing football. You got to use Tom Brady's words and take them as evidence of what they're trying to do. This is what he said. Tom Brady was talking about how they made progress over the bye week and what they saw from yesterday. He said, just finding a rhythm, finding ways to win games and making plays in situational football like we did at the end of the first half and at the end of the game. Sound like Belichick. Just control the middle four, as they say. 2 minutes before half, 2 minutes after half, and then obviously finish the game strong. That's what you saw from this team yesterday. You're not just talking about the issues and miscues of the Vikings. Let's talk about how they were capitalized, how they were taken advantage of by the Buccaneers. This is a completely different philosophy in terms of approach. And because of that approach, you're going to see a more efficient system. How many times have we watched the Patriots over their 20-year dynasty and sat there and said, before the game, the other team looks more talented. Mm-hmm. During the game, the Patriots don't look as explosive as the other team. But after the game, damn, the Patriots wiped them boys out. Mm-hmm. That's the mission of these Buccaneers. Coming up, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs held on to beat the Dolphins Sunday, but we'll tell you if they're actually leaking oil next. Woo-hoo, speak for yourself. Trying to clean the streets.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. The Chiefs are the defending champs, but they had to hang on to beat the Dolphins yesterday. Patrick Mahomes threw 2 touchdown passes, but he also tied a career high with 3 interceptions. Miami outscored KC 17-3 in the fourth quarter. But that wasn't enough, as the Chiefs have now won 8 straight games. Bucky Brooks, one of the smartest men in football, is back with us. But Marcellus Wiley, you up first. Are the Chiefs leaking oil right now?
I like that. Leaking oil, I'm going to go there, a parallel, but not necessarily leaking oil. But yes, to answer the question. But I think it's more that the check engine light started to flicker. You know why? Because the battery right now with this car is a little drained. I don't know, Acho, before all the money, before the worldwide tours and everything, the best-selling book, you ever had a bucket? I had a bucket. You know what that is? Where you got to pray and start at the same time? Like, oh, yeah, there you go. Well, I had me what was that, an 84 Monte Carlo with no front end, and I had a hanger keeping the door together on the passenger side. And I still went on dates. But you know what's funny when the battery is drained?
Yourself.
Oh, you stupid. Most of them, you ain't lying. In and out, solo. But sometimes, every now and then, you know, I had a friend in there before the draft. Here's the thing. I'm in this situation, and every now and then, the lights would just flicker. Mm-hmm. You know, you're riding, you're pushing. The radio just cut off and reboot. You're like, damn, okay, all good, but you're still pushing on the road. Because you know what happened? The same thing that's happening to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can be hiding behind the cover of what your record is. Look at performance and look at outcome. They're sometimes different, as Acho was talking about in the last block. This is a team, when you look at their performances, don't necessarily add up to the wins that we see from this same team. What am I talking about? They split with the Raiders. We saw that. But the Raiders beat them better by more points than they beat the Raiders. Okay, nail biters. To the Carolina Panthers, you beat them only by 2? And that was a close one. What was that? Went down to the wire. Chargers, overtime game, nail biter. Justin Herbert's first game, that's the same Chiefs team? Even the Houston Texans team, we saw them in game 1. We were like, this is a slow start by the defending world champions. Of course, they end up opening up that game. Close wins over Tampa, Denver, Miami, 6 points or fewer. All of those wins. If you've been paying attention to this team, you've come to a realization that even though the car is still going down the road and it still is going at a great pace, there's still some issues that the mechanic can fix. And hopefully they don't pop up at the wrong time when you're on a date with her or when you're in the playoffs. And that's what I'm seeing from this team.
Oh, my dog. I love that take. Kudos to you. That's one of your best takes in the last couple months, honestly. There was no flaw in it. I'm going to say this. The Chiefs are leaking oil, but like Marcellus Wiley drives, they can run on electric like a Tesla. See, they're leaking oil, but they have the ability to both need gas at times or not need gas at other times and simply run electrically. It doesn't matter, Marcellus, that Patrick Mahomes threw 3 interceptions yesterday, because they're still so good, they still won.
True.
It doesn't matter that their leading rusher was a wide receiver who only had 1 carry and 32 yards on that carry, Tyreek Hill. They're so good, they still won. Here is when I worry about the Chiefs. If I look into the details, last year, the Chiefs trailed in 5 games by double digits. They ended up winning 4 of those games that they trailed in by double digits. I believe they won all 5, but the other one they didn't win by double digits. This year, they've already in the regular season been trailing in 4 games by double digits, have won those games, but have not come back to win them by double digits. Why do I say that? They still really good. They're just not as dominant as they were a year ago, but they're 21-1 in their last 22 games.
Damn.
Like they're on another level. So are they leaking oil? Sure, if you want to say that, but it's really irrelevant to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Now, it's funny. I don't believe this team is leaking oil. I believe they're bored. When I look at them and when they're making this repeat effort, it reminds me of the Golden State Warriors. When they were winning with Steph and KD and those guys, they know they can beat you. It's a matter of, do they want to play with you? Do they want to get you up out the paint early? What do they want to do? And so with Patrick Mahomes playing the role of Steph Curry, it just kind of depends on how he feels on any given night. We saw that they were down 10-0, and before you knew it, they were up 30-10. And the Chiefs aren't even playing their A game yet. And it's tough when you are a team trying to go on a repeat. You're getting everybody's best game. You know that you're better than most teams when you walk in the stadium. It's hard to stay focused. And so I won't say they're leaking oil. They're trying to fast forward to the end of the book so they can see if they can write the new chapter in the playoffs as they go and capture their back-to-back Super Bowl title. That's what it is. Not leaking oil. They're good.
I'm not arguing that one right there. That is real. We'll see how that plays out. The only argument can be the reality of what happens to them going forward in the playoffs. As we saw last year in the playoffs, were they bored when they were down 10 in one game? Were they bored when they were down 24 in one game? Were they down 10 in the Super Bowl? Were they bored? Or is it really a situation where this is a team that likes to flirt with danger, whatever it is? And look, when I was riding around in the bucket, I was broke, but I had enough for a battery. But then I was like, let me go get this Turkish from the Slauson swap meet so I can have some passengers in this car, wink, wink. So therefore, I didn't apply my resources properly to what I needed most at the time. Sometimes what comes with complacency is the fact that you don't apply yourself properly to what you need to do. Maybe this Chiefs team is going to have a wake-up call that they can't answer when it comes playoff time. You think about situations when you're like, all right, when I want to turn it on, I can't turn it on. As we always say, the proverbial hit the switch. All right, that switch is fine until you short circuit, until that battery doesn't always connect. And then what's going to happen in a situation with the Chiefs team? I get it. They're bored or they've been through this process before. They're like, yeah, fast forward to when it matters most. But when they got to play the Saints this week and when the playoffs are coming, you can't keep flirting with danger like this and expect the same positive results.
I don't necessarily have a take of my own, so I'm over here trying to decide between, do I want to put some money on Bucky's take? Do I want a side bet on Marcellus's
my
take?
take is real take.
Like, both y'all's takes is kind of hot.
Hit that, G.
Here's why I agree with Bucky. Bucky says they bored. Remember, 2 weeks ago, the Chiefs beat the Broncos. What's Travis Kelce say post-game? Yeah, we got to give credit to the Raiders. You know, they played us tough. Bro, y'all just played the Broncos.
Yeah.
Marcellus, he ain't even remember who he was playing.
Huh?
He was like faceless and nameless. That
man.
totally means that he's bored. Like, you do not just finish a matchup, an NFL grueling battle with another team which you have spent 5 to 6 days preparing for, then immediately post-game while still in your uniform, give credit to another team that you didn't even play. That means you were fully bored. But now, Marcellus, big dog, you not totally wrong, and this is why I'm so confused.
Hey.
Because look, last year, Bucky, remember, week 9 and on, the Chiefs had the #1 scoring defense, especially from week 11 and on. Last year, the Chiefs defense, they picked it up. But this year, since week 9, tied for 20th in scoring defense, giving up 26 points a game. Tied for 27th in total defense, giving up 383 yards a game. I'm not necessarily convinced that this is a boredom type of thing. Look at the Chiefs leaders. Patrick Mahomes, one of the most mature men in the NFL, particularly for his age. Look at the defensive side of the ball. Tyrann Mathieu, probably the most mature defensive back when you consider all the things he's gone through in his life, personally, professionally, etc. I don't think the Chiefs are a type of team that would let boredom affect them. I do just think, hey, They having some off days. They are leaking oil. But again, they're so good, it's really irrelevant.
You know, what I love about you guys, because both you guys have kind of delved in that track world. I heard a conversation before we came on, and I know I'm appealing to Marcellus because I want to appeal to his ego. As a national champion 400-meter runner, I think he certainly can relate to the fact that when you're running, sometimes you're out there and you're like, you know, I got the field. I'm sitting here in lane 4. I see the guys in 5, 6, and 7 out. I'll get them when I get to the third curve, and I'll kind of reel them in. I was more of a 100-meter guy, so I can relate more to Usain Bolt. We saw Usain Bolt win year after year after year, and Justin Gatlin would jump out. He'd be like, okay, I see you, dog, but let me get to about 80, and let me go ahead and win this.
That's a wrap.
And that's what the Kansas City Chiefs are doing. They're throwing it out there. They're letting those guys go, but they're going to reel them back in. And as Marcellus can relate, because the Inglewood Jets, I've seen them in action. And when you're walking somebody down, they go, woo. That's better. Kansas City do it. They keep walking them down. They let them run around. They don't walk them down. They'll get to them before they get to the chicken take. There's no need to be worried. They're just trying to see how much can we give them before we reel them in front of the home
stadium.
Oh, man, I digress when I go to this point. Quincy Watts, Arcadia, late 80s, running against Dallas Wings from your hometown. Alto, they came out there, Jerry curled up, came out there, 4 dudes ready to rumble. Quincy Watts got that baton like 80 yards back in the 400 on that mile relay. And all you heard for about 44 seconds, and suck that dude up. I told you I digress. Okay, I got to go here because you look at this situation, and don't ever disrespect me like that, saying, Bucky, I'm just a national champion. I'm also a national record holder. Can you put some respect on my name? Let's look at this situation for what it is. In simple, being real, the Chiefs are playing with some dangerous times in terms of who they're going to face maybe in the playoffs. Are Tennessee Titans coming to mind again? Yeah. What are the Chiefs ranked in terms of their rush defense this year? 26. You think Derrick Henry and his 200-yard toting self is going to enjoy running over the 26 rush defense, putting pressure on that team? That's just one example of how you shouldn't flirt with danger. But all things said, I think Bucky won the block. They just seem a little bored right now, being out there in the open wilderness, waiting for it to get real. And LeVar Arrington, that was a great take by you, too. Travis Kelce style. Coming up in our big story, you'll get that later. The Browns and Ravens have a huge matchup tonight. Oh, that was a good story. We'll tell you if we're more confident in Lamar Jackson or Baker Mayfield. Next, speak for yourself. Let's head to the AFC North, where the Ravens are 3-point favorites on the road tonight against the Browns. According to Fox Bet, Lamar Jackson's squad snapped a 3-game losing streak by beating the Cowboys last week, while the Browns have won 4 straight and Baker Mayfield hasn't thrown an interception in his last 5 games. Bucky is back, but Acho, are you more confident in Lamar Jackson or Baker Mayfield tonight?
Fellas, I never thought I would see the day where I would hear even me saying that I'm more confident in Baker Mayfield than Lamar Jackson. Sure. Yeah, I'm more confident in Baker, my guys. I've turned, I've believed, I've become a Baker believer, and it is my job to implore y'all to do the same. You know when you go to Vegas, Marcellus, and you hear those people on the street corners, repent, repent and turn from your ways. Yeah. That's how I am on this show. Y'all better repent and turn to Baker Mayfield because he's for real. Fellas, he's playing the best ball of his career. But beyond that, he has a coach that knows what to do and a coach that believes in him. Why do I think that Baker will prevail, and am I more confident in Baker tonight? Because Baker got to do less. If Baker doesn't throw a touchdown pass, if Baker doesn't throw for 250 yards, I'm really not that worried because the Browns' success isn't contingent upon Baker Mayfield. So with less pressure becomes a better performer. Whereas Lamar Jackson, if he don't go out there and have at least 250, 300 total yards, if he doesn't have 2 or more total touchdowns, do you really think the Ravens are going to be successful? He is the offense. Baker Mayfield is a part of the offense. Lamar Jackson is the offense. But let me end my first lap with a full screen.
Okay.
Since week 7, let's talk about in the NFL, not the AFC North, in the NFL. Top touchdown to interception ratios. Aaron Rodgers, 13. That's how many touchdowns do you throw? per interceptions do you throw? Aaron Rodgers, 13. Deshaun Watson, 12. Baker, let's say Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield with 11-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, 112 passer rating. It's impossible not to be confident at this junction in time in Baker Mayfield. The only way you could not be is if your bias is blinding you. I have no bias. It does not blind me.
This is going to be fun. Give us some extra time, producers. Let's go. All right. I have more confidence in Lamar Jackson, obviously. Let's just start with a grand statement that there are only two people walking this planet right now that have unanimous MVPs, and one of them is in this conversation right now. His name is Lamar Jackson. Only two on this planet ever, and it's Lamar Jackson. Why do I have more confidence in him? Because it's a situation where I saw them on the field this year playing against each other before. You remember that game? Anybody? Acho, let me see your face when I give you these numbers. 20 of 25, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 152.1 rating was Lamar Jackson in that beatdown, a 38-6, 32-point win. Let's hear what Baker did in that same game this year, so I don't have to go back to history just yet. 189 yards passing, 65 quarterback rating. Sound like Derrick Henry out there running the football instead of Baker Mayfield throwing the football, and they got smashed. So why do I have more confidence in Lamar Jackson? Same reason why any of us who's been in relationships before can have confidence in what we've seen versus what you want me to imagine. You ever been in a relationship, break up with somebody, but you still got them feelings? You're still on the phone late night checking. You hang up first. You hang up first. But we already broke up. But we in that middle pass right now where we trying to figure out if we going to do something different. Who you want to be to me, Baker Mayfield, versus who you are is the conversation right now. I have not seen Baker Mayfield handle the situation of playing the Ravens and balling out this year like Lamar Jackson did. I also haven't seen Baker Mayfield handle prosperity well in his career. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield in 2018 when he had a 3-game winning streak, followed by a loss to the Ravens where he threw 3 picks. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield in 2019 when he had a 3-game win streak, followed by the loss to the Steelers. He had 2 giveaways. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield this year when they had a 4-game winning streak, followed by that beat down by the Pittsburgh Steelers and the pick 6, 2 picks. And now we're in a 4-game win streak once again. It's time for Baker Mayfield to do what Baker Mayfield always does, no matter what he says on the phone late night, is that Baker Mayfield is not the same as Lamar Jackson.
You know, here's the thing. I'm not even going to throw Lamar Jackson in the conversation because I'm not worried about Lamar Jackson. I've seen Lamar Jackson play at a high level. I'm still waiting to see if the number 1 overall pick from 2018 can play against a good team and play well. And I know, Acho, you're excited because he played well against Tennessee Titans, but Tennessee Titans don't play defense. We will see him play against a defense. And so I know you like a full screen. I don't have a full screen, but what you know, I got my notebook. And in my notebook, when Baker Mayfield has played against top defenses like the Baltimore Ravens, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, here's what he's done. 52 for 94. 4 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, 7 sacks, and a 64.8 passer rating. Throw that up on your full screen, and I'm sure it wouldn't be near the top of the charts. And when I think about the Baltimore defense, they blitz 42% of the time, most of anybody in the National Football League. They have 92 hits on the quarterback, second most in the league. And so what Baker Mayfield did against the Tennessee Titans, he was only pressured on 3% of those dropbacks. He only got touched 1 time out of 33 dropbacks. Let's see if he can go and get touched up. I certainly hope he's not Nate Robinson when we saw Nate Robinson.
Look, Bucky Brooks, man, this ain't Blues Clues out here at your handy-dandy notebook. And come to work with a full screen, Bucky, if you're going to come out here. Come correct. Look, Baker Mayfield 5-1 in the last 6 games, gentlemen. Lamar Jackson 2-4 in the last 6 games.
COVID.
Baker Mayfield 11 to 1 passing touchdowns to interceptions the last 6 games. Lamar Jackson, well, I don't even want to tell you what that is, but it don't look good. 7-5.
Boy, you better stop.
Fellas, look at the numbers. Stop reading the names on the back of the jerseys. Oh, that's all y'all get so bombarded by great names. Oh my gosh, Marcellus, you told me a stat about week 1. Week 1, that's the last time the Browns played the Ravens. You know how much can change from week 1 to now?
Show it.
So don't back in week 1, Carson Wentz was starting. Okay, don't talk to me about week 1.
Yeah.
Now, when I talk about Baker Mayfield, again, I'm not, Bucky, going to debate the whole, when are you going to look like a number 1 overall pick? Rarely, if we're being real, do number 1 overall picks look like number 1 overall picks. So I'm not going to get so lost in that argument anymore. Where I'm going to focus on is Baker. What do you mean? Don't look at me like that. Jameis Winston. He ain't look like a number 1 pick. Like, don't look at me like number 1. I apologize, but number 1 picks don't always pan out. So I'm not going to get lost in a different argument. I'm not going. That's a different argument that Bucky trying to get me caught up in. I'm not going to get caught up in that argument. I'm going to focus on this, Bucky. Who's playing better ball right now? Baker Mayfield.
For a half.
Which team is playing better ball right now?
For 1 half.
The Cleveland Browns. Marcellus Wiley, Bucky, y'all know this. You're either getting better in football or you're getting worse. Who's getting better over the last 6 weeks?
Oh, God.
Baker Mayfield. Who's getting worse?
God.
Lamar Jackson. Stretch it out as long as you want. Who's getting better this year? Baker Mayfield. Who's getting worse this year? Lamar Jackson. Marcellus, slice it, dice it, cut it, however you want to cut it. It's going to land you back to Baker Mayfield. You should have more confidence in him tonight than Lamar Jackson.
It's amazing when I talk about this year with these same 2 players, I chose like, you can't do that. What you talking about? A lot has changed in the last, 11 weeks? But then he goes and counters that with a point of, well, in the last 6 games, a lot has changed in the last 6 weeks as well. But I understand you got to use anything you can to support your point. I like using people against themselves and then using them against the competition. As we heard Bucky say, there's really not a competition of these 2 players. We're just trying to say, is Baker now riding a wave that Lamar's not riding right now? That's all we could talk about. Because if we look at them as 2 different players in totality, we're going to come to a realization. They may be in the same class, but different caliber. Actually, same class, but LeVar should say, I'm better than your ass. That's what this full screen should say. Lamar Jackson, 26-7 versus 21-20. Baker Mayfield, you're a number 1 overall pick, and you riding this wave, and Acho saying, you're playing such lights-out football, and you 1 game over 500. Boy, stop. Completion percentage. You letting a running back, a receiver be more accurate with the football than you if you're Baker Mayfield? Y'all see the rest of these. What about these giveaways? What is this? Is this some kind of like holiday giveaway or some sweepstakes? Oh, no, those are turnovers. And Baker Mayfield damn near doubling what you see out of Lamar Jackson. Don't even compare these 2 like Bucky said. It's just about, is Baker Mayfield right now hiding behind his troops and saying, hey, guys, go out there and get them. And then I'll come in there, pow, pow. If you ever seen Harlem Nights, Eddie Murphy comes, and then here go Arsenio. Pow! That's Baker Mayfield. He got 1 shot in him, and everybody else is doing all the dirty work. But it's fooling Acho, so I guess it should fool us.
I mean, Acho, I'm just so surprised that you're all on the Baker Mayfield train, but I'm glad because now it's hitching. And the good thing about video, it lasts forever. And so when you come onto the show tomorrow and you got the old sad face because you hitched your wagon to the wrong horse again, then we got to pip you up. So we're going to talk about Baker Mayfield. You ran down all those numbers, last 6 games, last 8 games, and all these things that he's done. But I'm looking at the last 2 games against Jacksonville and Tennessee. Yes, he got back on track. The Jacksonville Jaguars aren't very good. The Tennessee Titans aren't very good on defense. So he has 6 touchdowns. The 3 games prior to that, no touchdowns. 0. 0 passing touchdowns from a quarterback. And in fact, when I look at those numbers were Cam Newton-esque. And I know how much you love Cam Newton when he puts it up, when he's throwing for only 150 or fewer yards. But even let's go deeper than that because I love how you love his numbers and what he was able to do against these lesser teams. So I'm looking at his numbers and I'm looking at, Cincinnati 2 touchdowns, Washington 2 touchdowns, Dallas 2 touchdowns. That's 6. Then we go Cincinnati 5 touchdowns. We're up to 11. And lo and behold, Jacksonville. So 13 of his 21 touchdowns are against scrub teams. So are we really excited about Baker Mayfield and what he's doing? Or are we saying he's like a bully? He's the guy that takes all the lunch money from the lesser kids. So I just don't know. Maybe you can get a full screen to show him doing something against a good team because he's playing a good team tonight. So please.
He ain't got that.
It's all yours.
Man, you know what? I've never gotten to the point where I feel bad for Baker because he has to deal with the ignorance of people like y'all who were blinded by names. What do I mean? Bucky, while you were talking and just spewing nothing but nonsense and ignorance, I had time. I had time. So in my time, I researched, because on this show, Bucky Brooks is facts over feelings. Lamar Jackson, he has 17 passing touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns on the season. That totals to 21. He has 7 interceptions on the season. So he has 21 total touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Rock with me, Bucky Brooks. Baker Mayfield, 21 total touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Lamar Jackson's completion percentage on the season, 63%. Baker Mayfield, round up, 63%. Lamar Jackson, total passing yards. Oh, keep it as is. Keep it as is. Don't round up. 62.7, 63.7. Okay, glad y'all got a laugh out of that one. Lamar Jackson, passing yards on the season. If y'all don't want to round, let's not round. 2,055. Baker Mayfield, 2,042. Lamar Jackson's passer rating, 94. Baker's 97. Statistically, gentlemen, on the season, if Bucky, you want to factor in all of those goose egg games where Baker had no touchdown passes, statistically, Baker is still outperforming Lamar Jackson on the season. And then, Bucky, please don't talk to me about who you've played. They're in the same conference. They're in the AFC North. Both of these teams play the Bengals. So it's not about, oh, well, the Browns had an easier schedule. They play the same people minus like 3 to 4 teams. Look at the numbers, remove y'all's opinions, remove y'all's feelings, and realize that, wait a second, Baker Mayfield's actually outperforming Lamar Jackson.
Wow. First of all, the insults towards Bucky Brooks, who I call Rosetta Stone, how he translates the game of football better than anyone else, are blasphemous right there. Yo, ignorant butt, I just converted to the Baker believer crowd, right? You just did that. But you know who you are, Acho? You're not enlightened. You're just a jinx. You followed Carson Wentz the entire year and then hopped off that wagon. Why? Because Carson Wentz and his performances threw you off the wagon. You didn't want to get off, but you just came to the realization, hey, man, Carson Wentz ain't it. And now you think you're a genius because you jumped on Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield ain't it either. You just gave us a summation of right now, which is Lamar Jackson at his worst is the same as Baker Mayfield at his best. Hip, hip, hooray, former #1 overall pick Baker Mayfield. That doesn't sound flattering to me. So if you look at what I'm seeing from Acho, it's simple. That Texas connection, Baker Mayfield and Acho.
Baker went to Oklahoma.
He went to Oklahoma. And your first show on this program, you know what you did? Hey, despite where Baker Mayfield went, and I got the tape, I love me some Baker Mayfield. You've been out there before with him, but you're a jinx. So we know how this is going to end. It's simple as that. You don't have to go to Vegas to see somebody on the corner saying something foul, as a 5% of you were saying. You can just go down the street. Go to Crenshaw, bruh. They doing the same thing right there. And some of them are on, and some of them are off. Acho's off right now. Coming up, Doug Peterson said Jalen Hurts, he'll remain the starter after Sunday's win. Acho, you hear that? But we'll tell you if he can earn a job for next season. Next, another losing take for you.
Repent and turn to Baker. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. It's about to be fireworks. Jalen Hurts helped snap the Eagles' 4-game losing streak yesterday with a win in his debut. As the starting quarterback, that is. Now, Hurts threw a touchdown pass and added over 100 yards on the ground. Doug Peterson made the big move last week that sent Carson Wentz to the bench. And today he said Hurts will stay in the lineup as the starter. Okay, Bucky Brooks is back with us. Can't wait for this one. But Marcellus, you up first. Can Jalen Hurts earn the starting job for next season?
Oh, yes, he can. Absolutely. I think it's a wrap already. All to just pause and wait and let us all go back and recalibrate and talk about the decision internally, and then we'll come out with it that Doug Peterson has done last 2 weeks. Stop it. It's all theatrics. We know what's really at play right here. If you're talking about just performance, then obviously it's Jalen Hurts' job right now. Now, there's always been conversation of one issue of why Carson Wentz is still in this conversation, because it's certainly not his performance. It's his financials. It's how much they owe Carson Wentz. And everybody knows he's making $39 million in cash this year. And that contract, $128 million contract, it's a contract that most people were saying is untradeable. Oh, but then I have to quote the former Eagle exec. You know this guy, Acho? Joe Banner. Remember that guy? Yeah, he's quoted as saying no contract is untradeable. Why? Because they broke it down. Him and Jason Fitzgerald, I am a nerd, of Over the Cap, broke down this situation and said, look, Carson Wentz, there's a way to get away from him in terms of trading. If the Eagles were to trade him after June 1st, 2021, next year, he count $19 million on the cap for Philly for that year. Then the next year, $24 million in dead money. Then you couple that with the fact that you have a second rounder at your starting quarterback position. Absolutely, you can work that into your financial books. Carson Wentz. If there's now a brewing conversation of how they can get away from you, why wouldn't they get away from you if Jalen Hurts continues to earn this starting spot? And it's not that difficult to earn the starting spot here because he's going to be compared to Carson Wentz, whose passer rating is 34th. Completion percentage is 34th, and his yards per attempt is 33rd, and he has the most giveaways without even playing last week. It's funny, Carson Wentz's numbers and rankings got worse this week without even playing. You know why? Insert Jalen Hurts into the conversation, and by all statistical categories, he played better than what we've seen out of Carson Wentz.
There's absolutely nothing Jalen Hurts can do to earn a starting job for next season, and it's no indictment on Jalen Hurts. A 4-game sample size just simply isn't enough. If it was, Nick Foles would be the starter currently for the Philadelphia Eagles. He actually had the greatest 4-game sample size of all time. Shout out 2017 playoffs. There's nothing Jalen Hurts can do to earn a starting job because a 4-game sample size simply isn't enough. Remember the whole Minshew magic phase we were all in? Yeah, Gardner Minshew got benched this year. There's nothing Jalen Hurts can do to earn the starting job this year because a 4-game sample size just isn't enough. Teddy Bridgewater, 5-0 last year for the Saints. 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Carolina Panthers aren't looking too good right now. There's nothing Jalen Hurts can do because a 4-game sample size isn't enough. Last year, the Eagles started 5-7. Carson Wentz had a great 4-game sample size the last 4 games of the season. They went 4-0. Carson Wentz had 7 touchdowns, no interceptions, 100.0 passer rating. The Eagles were 4-0, like I said, and made the playoffs. But what did that 4-game sample size mean going forward? Clearly, absolutely nothing for the following season. Jalen Hurts can ball, likely will ball, and the Eagles are rallying behind Jalen Hurts. That is phenomenal. But a 4-game sample size is not and should not be enough to commit to someone for the future. Again, I got too much on this take, Marcellus. I'm not going to come with you with all my heat because I need you for the next 30 minutes of the show. But I'll also add this. Carson Wentz, everybody said, oh, he's too injury prone. Well, he started the same amount of games as Aaron Rodgers and 1 less game as Dak Prescott. So he can't be that injury prone. Carson Wentz, 27 years old. Carson Wentz shown you MVP potential during the course of a 13-game sample size. So, again, I'm going to caution everybody. It is very easy to go on 1, 2, or 3 quality dates. But remember, Marcellus, you know this better than I. You got to figure out how does a spouse relate to raising children, making hard decisions. Yeah, you can go on 1 quick date with minimal commitment. That is great. But when you're talking about a franchise quarterback going forward as your starter, 1 date or 4 dates is not indicative of a starting quarterback. Jalen Hurts can and likely will ball the rest of the season, but a 4-game sample size is not enough.
You know, Acho, Marcellus, I love you guys because you guys bring out the best in me. And as a football player, I always want to develop. So, Acho, I want you to know I got better because here's what I'm going to do to make my point and emphasize it. Hey, can we pull up my sound? Pull up my sound. I got something to say. Can you pull up my sound? Look, I like this. Fly, Eagles, fly. I'm going with the Eagles by 3. Jalen Hurts gets it done. 24-21. 24-21.
They're going to hang on and win 24-21.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. So here we are again, Acho. And once again, you want to debate me about this guy, Jalen Hurts, but we've already seen it. And so you talked about a sample size that 4 isn't enough, but 13 qualifies because in 2017, we saw Carson Wentz play 13 games and he played at an MVP level. So since 13 is the magic number, I'm going to pull this up. In the 13 games that Carson Wentz hasn't started for Doug Peterson, he's 11-2. So maybe Doug Peterson is coming to the realization that maybe I'm a much better coach when I don't have this albatross hanging around my neck. And so as he looks at Jalen Hurts and he sees, oh, wow, I put Jalen Hurts in the game and we run for 200 yards. He, in his first game against this vaunted defense, the New Orleans Saints, who hadn't given up a 100-yard rusher in 55 games, he rushes for 100 yards his first time out. I mean, he should be nervous to death when he runs for 100. But then Miles Sanders also runs for 100 yards.
What?
And then I've heard so much about the injuries and what they're lacking and what they don't have. And, Alshon Jeffrey is slow, but then he throws him a touchdown on a back shoulder fade. And I saw that. It was funny because you brought up that little video with Alshon Jeffrey getting jammed against the Cleveland Browns because this guy couldn't get open and Carson Wentz couldn't throw the ball. But he looked like a completely different player with Jalen Hurts. And I know we talked about franchise quarterbacks elevating the play of others. I looked up in the Philadelphia Eagles looked like a team that could make a run, that could win the division just because they removed somebody from the lineup. So, by the way, this is happening. I think we might have seen the last of the starting days for Carson Wentz in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts, here's the key to the city, a brotherly love.
Man!
Snaps for that.
One of them slow Denzel claps too, boy.
Snaps for that take. See, you thought you was going to knock me out, but Bucky, boy, did I come prepared for this show.
Let's see.
Marcellus Wiley, your experience is what?
Your expertise.
Your experience is what, sir?
Your expertise.
Your experience is your expertise. Bucky Brooks, Doug Peterson, during the course of his career, what was he? A backup quarterback, right? He was a backup quarterback, right? So if your experience is your expertise, and Doug Peterson's 12-year career, his experience was being a backup quarterback, and you just told me that with backup quarterbacks, he's 11-2. If your experience is your expertise, and Doug Peterson's experience is being a backup quarterback, then his expertise would actually be developing and playing high-level backup quarterbacks. Oh, that's just my first lap, Bucky Brooks. You thought you had me, Bucky, but I'm coming with some heat. Can we play Bucky Brooks' sound again, please? Can we play his sound again, please? I want to hear one more time.
Look, I like this. Fly, Eagles, fly. I'm going with the Eagles by 3. Jalen Hurts gets it done. 24-21.
Thank you. Bucky Brooks was right.
They're going to hang on and win 24-21.
Bucky, when I moved to L.A., sir, I'm a watch. I love watches. I got Rolexes, I got Movados, I love watches. But the problem was, Bucky, because I start wearing too many of my same watches, my battery dies on some of my watches. And so my battery was dead. I couldn't go to the watch repair, so I had a broken clock. But the good thing about watches, even if the clock is broken, they're still right twice a day. Bucky Brooks, you was right. But even a broken clock is right twice a day. No, Bucky Brooks, I love that you had a great guest. Kudos to you. Bucky Brooks, your experience, however, is your expertise. Doug Peterson, I think he does best with backup quarterbacks because he was one, so he knows how to relate. Jalen Hurts, he balled again. 273 total yards, phenomenal job. 1 total touchdown, phenomenal job. He did not lose the game. The Eagles won the game, phenomenal job. But I'm not going to look at 4 games and say, oh my gosh, he should be the starter. Why will I not do that? Because I saw Nick Foles take over for the Bears this year, beat the Atlanta Falcons, came in off the bench and balled. But what happened? Controversy. I bought into Minshew magic. I saw that. But what happened? Minshew to the bench, now Minshew the starter again. I'm not going to be so bamboozled. I've seen Taysom Hill look good for 3 games, laid an egg against the Eagles. Again, fellas, please understand. Yes, somebody can go out there and ball for 1, 2, 3, 4 games. But in the NFL, to be a great quarterback, how are you going to deal with offensive coordinators leaving? How are you going to deal with the ability to stay healthy over time? The abilities that it takes to be a franchise and starting quarterback, we just don't have time to figure out over these next 4 games. Not an indictment on Jalen Hurts. It is an indictment on the time frame that Jalen Hurts has to showcase himself.
Unreal. Acho, Bucky got you.
He thought he did.
Where he wants you. Oh, yeah, he did, because he got you up here. You bobbed, you weaved, you tried, and then you finished it off and lied. Acho went up there and just said, I have Rolexes, batteries. Wait a minute.
No, I have Rolexes. No, I knew
I've been making this money for too long to be hearing you lie to these people about that. Rolex had 1 watch in limited quantity, and it stopped in 2001, the Oyster Quartz, that had a battery. But Acho in elementary school had a Rolex, I guess. That's what Acho just told America. Boy, he up here lying his ass off. Okay, then he goes to the calendar and says, hey, it's just the timetable and they're not going to have enough games to see and you shouldn't marry someone after 1 or 4 dates. Oh, really? Because Nick Foles is his example. Nick Foles was 4 years older than Carson Wentz, and his 4-game sample size obviously culminated in a Super Bowl championship. But when you get there and you get your composure and you look at Carson Wentz versus Nick Foles, you come to a realization, we should go with the younger guy if we can't make this decision definitive. So that's how that example worked. But then he goes to Dak Prescott in 4-game sample size. No, Dak didn't have a 4-game sample size. It was a little longer his rookie year. But Dak Prescott, who was not a first-rounder, who was not a number 2 overall pick, did take the job from Tony Romo, who was a $100 million man in his rookie year. So then he went from that and he went to Russell Wilson. What about Russell Wilson, that 3rd rounder, who took the job from Matt Flynn without playing 1 damn game? And Matt Flynn got paid. They go into training camp. Pete Carroll looks at Russell Wilson and says, I don't know. It looks like Matt Flynn's one of those Rolexes that Acho talks about with a battery in it, because they don't exist. And they got rid of him. The point being, Acho, I don't know what your take is.
I didn't bring up Russ or Dak.
But you need to look at the numbers in the reality. I'm talking about 51 is the key number. That's the number of players on this Eagles team that is not raising their hand, but voting for Jalen Hurts silently, all in support of their future franchise quarterback. Coming up, Josh Allen led the Bills to a big win over the Steelers last night. We'll tell you if Buffalo is a legit threat to the Chiefs in the AFC. Next, Speak for Yourself. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. The Bills scored 23 unanswered points against the Steelers last night to win their 3rd straight. They had a pick 6 on Ben Roethlisberger, and Josh Allen threw 2 touchdown passes. Love that dude. Bills are now the 3rd seed in the AFC behind the Steelers and the Chiefs. So, Acho, are the Bills a legit threat to the Chiefs in the AFC?
Marcellus Wiley, my takes like fine wine, they getting better with some time, my brother.
Good, they started slow.
This one's easy. No, sir.
Yeah.
The Bills are not a threat to the Chiefs in the AFC, but again, I'm not convinced that there is a threat. I said before the season, Chiefs will go undefeated. It appears that I will be 1 game off. Let me break it down to you like this. There's really no retort. There's really no rebuttal, but I'm interested because you get paid too to hear your follow-up. Marcellus, in order to beat Patrick Mahomes, you got to score at least 28 points a game.
That was
Patrick Mahomes is 31-1 in his career when the Chiefs allow 28 points or less. Patrick Mahomes, 31-1 when the Chiefs allow 28 points or less. 2 teams, AFC, playoffs, average more than 28 points a game. The Titans being one of them, the Colts being the other. Colts only average 28.6 points a game. So I just told y'all, 31-1. The only way to beat the Chiefs, the only way to have a chance to beat the Chiefs is by scoring more than 28 points a game. Only 2 teams in the AFC allow more than 28 points a game. Okay, but what about this Chiefs defense? Chiefs defense, they only give up 21 points a game. Marcellus, you do the math, please. If you got to score at least 28 to beat the Chiefs, only 2 teams score more than 28 on average, and the Chiefs only allow 21. Then you, sir, you, Mr. Columbia, you, Mr. Ivy League, you, Mr. Smartest NFL player to have ever played the game, you, sir, explain to me how in the world that's going to happen. Ain't no threats. Bills play great defense. Steelers play great defense. A lot of teams play great defense. Defense no longer wins championships in the NFL.
Matt Burke, Ryan Fitzpatrick, maybe smarter than me. I don't know. They went to Harvard. Maybe. All right, here we go. I don't know what to do with you, man, because you take me everywhere, and I just follow because I like you. I like you more than you like me, obviously, because you just sit there and take shots at me every single time you can. But, of course, the Bills are a legit threat to the Chiefs. I will have ammunition for that point. But, Acho, one block you tell me not to go all time, because that's way back 3-4 years ago. But you give me Patrick Mahomes all time. Okay, then you say don't go week 1 when we're talking about Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield, because that's a long time ago, but it's this year. And then we go to a situation where we're talking about the Bills and the Chiefs, and you want to rely on the premise of they played each other in week 6, and then who Patrick Mahomes is all time. Make it make sense, Acho, because you take me everywhere. You told me not to do this, but I'm going to do this. Let's talk about how hot you are right now in this moment, since that was your point earlier in this show. What's the hotter team right now, the Chiefs or the Bills? Now, you're going to look at the win-loss column and say, it looks like it's the Chiefs. But in reality, It's the Buffalo Bills. Who is leading the NFL in scoring in the last 4 weeks? Is it the Chiefs or the Bills? And they're going to play this week. I wonder. They're going to play each other going forward. What about the Bills allowing fewer points per game on defense than the Chiefs are? So we're scoring more and we're allowing fewer points. Oh, I hate to see that team going forward. Now, you want to talk about who they played and who they are. This season versus the Rams, Steelers, Dolphins, 49ers, Josh Allen's undefeated. 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, passer rating 121. Why do I bring up those teams? Because those are the top 3 scoring defenses and 3 of the top 5 total defenses. I wonder if Patrick Mahomes has played those same teams since they haven't played each other since week 6. Oh, Mahomes has only faced one of those 4 teams, the Dolphins, yesterday. How'd that turn out? 3 interceptions and a 30-yard sack. All it looks like to me is that there's the Chiefs who are playing at this level, and then there are the Buffalo Bills who are not just at that level, but playing hotter football. Make it make sense?
That's a cute take. I'm going to end you like this, sir. The only team to beat the Chiefs this year was the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders scored 40 points. That's how they beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The Las Vegas Raiders played the Chiefs again. They scored 31 points. What happened in that game? They lost. The Buffalo Bills scored over 40 points once all year. You do the math, bro. If you tell me you got a 1 in 13 chance to beat the Chiefs, it's not looking good. Coming up, Washington is all by themselves in first place to the NFC East. It ain't the least no more, people, but we'll tell you which team will actually win the division. That's next. Speak for yourself. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's go to the puzzle in the NFC East. Washington is all alone in first after beating the 49ers. The Giants fell to second after being blown out by the Cardinals. And the Eagles and Cowboys both stayed alive with wins on Sunday. So, Marcellus, let's talk about it. I'm going to put respect on the NFC East name now.
Oh, you are?
No
more least?
No more least.
What about Lentz and Wentz? Are we doing that? No?
No. So who's going to win the NFC East? You tell me.
Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys going to win it. Look, I'm going to be like Ato. Let me just say what everybody already thinking. It's going to be the Washington football team, which will be a great story and a great landing spot, and I love what they're trying to do in terms of redirection. However, it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys. Why? 1, they took care of your boy for 1 year out there. But 2, because look at their schedule. 3rd easiest schedule. What has to happen? Cowboys beat the 49ers Sunday. Watch the Browns go beat the Giants. Can that happen? You know damn well. All right, Seahawks, can you beat Washington? Yeah. Look up next week. What's the standings? Cowboys 1 game back in the win column. Then you just need Washington. With Dwayne Haskins possibly going forward to have what they call a face plant. Yeah, I think that could happen with Dwayne Haskins as your quarterback. Washington lose your last 2. You lose to Carolina. You lose to Philadelphia, your squad. And then the Cowboys beat the Eagles. We could do that. And then they beat the Giants. They could do that. Cowboys, look up, 7-9. NFC champs. That's how I see this playing out. As Bucky Brooks accurately predicted the score of the last game, I am predicting the champion of this division. It's the Dallas Cowboys, 7-9.
The difference between you and Bucky Brooks, he was right. You were wrong. It's simple, bro. I'm going to say the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not saying it with my chest. Okay, let me slouch. The Philadelphia Eagles. Because I believe it to a degree. 2018, Eagles started 5-6. They finished 9-7, made the playoffs. Yeah. 2019, Brazilian. Eagles started 5-7. They finished 9-7, won the last 4, made the playoffs. 2020, Eagles start 3-8-1. They just overcome the hottest team in the NFL, beating the Saints with the new quarterback. They're 1-0. Last year, they ended 4-0 the last quarter of the season. That's when they do their best work. Eagles, we know them to be underdogs. But really what it comes down to me is this. NFC East, 3 of the 4 teams in that division, they got to play 1 more big dog left.
Okay.
The football, Washington has to play the Seahawks. That's that big dog. I don't know if they're going to be able to handle them. Okay. The Giants, you could argue 1-2. They still got to play the Browns still got to play the Ravens.
Yeah, that's
the Eagles, they beat their big dog in the Saints. That was a tough blow. That's like, hey, these last 4 games, these last 3 games, you got to knock off 1 big dog. Even if the Eagles would have lost to the Saints but won the last 3, they probably not going to make it. But still, they beat the Saints. Now you got to handle the Cardinals, Cowboys, Washington. All of those things are doable. As for the Cowboys, realistically, I don't expect them to beat the Eagles, an Eagles team that's already beat them this year. I think that's wishful thinking on your part.
Oh, let's use your logic right here because there is going to be some film out there on Jalen Hurts and this Eagles squad as they look better now, but different. So maybe that will come into play when they play the Cardinals or they play the Cowboys or the Washington football team. let's look at the Cowboys with that easy schedule going forward. Why is it easy? Because they're battle-tested. They had to play the Steelers, close loss. They beat the Vikings. Vikings are better than the 49ers. Vikings are better than the Eagles. Vikings are better than the Giants. And the Dallas defense is playing better. And we finally saw some more results from their offense in the pass attack. All of that adds up to Dallas Cowboys. Path of least resistance in front of them. Let's see if they get on the hot streak and win this division. Coming up, Uncle Jimmy is starting the week off with some words for me. Uh-oh. Can't wait to hear this. Kinda can, but let's hear it. Bring it on next. Speak for yourself. Before we go, Uncle Jimmy is here, so word on the street is you have some words for me. Watch yourself, partner. Let's hear it.
Hey, Wiley.
What's up?
I owe you an apology, bro.
Oh, okay. Let me calm down.
Real, man. Hey, man, I thought you was kidding when you was talking about you rode the little bus when you went to college. I realized today you was serious as hell.
Why?
How the hell you gonna come out here, up here sending out SOS signals, just letting everybody know you stuck on stupid? Sit down, wait a minute. Comparing the Kansas City Chiefs to an 85 Cutlass that needs an alternator none less. Now this is coming from a man so dumb that he's so dark that every time he get out of a Tesla, the oil light come on. Hey man, the Kansas City Chiefs is who we thought they were.
What?
They the best in the AFC West.
That's real.
They romping, stomping, ass-kicking, hell-raising pieces of death and destruction. That little thing you saw with the Dolphins yesterday, the little misstep you saw last week, this is the reason they say that lions don't lose sleep over the opinions of sheep.
Talk about it.
The Kansas City Chiefs is kicking ass and taking names.
That's it.
We trying to win another Super Bowl, so we ain't got time to play no game. Okay, Wiley?
The best in the AFC West? All right. Y'all better than Denver. Y'all better than the Chargers. All right. Oh, you split with the Raiders. What the hell you talking about? Guarantee you, Unc, right now. I put money on it. Y'all not winning it again this year.